Alright, remember the big piece I showed you? I've decided to go the opposite. I'm going to make this the bottom because I'm thinking this is one of the main features. I'm going to round this up, and then as I dig deeper into the bowl, it's going to run into this. Yeah, it goes all, the stain goes all the way through, but it's real small on this side and large on this side. So as I dig in, it will get larger and larger. That's my plan. I'm sticking with it. Big old chunk. Alright, this is going to take a bunch of time to flatten this bottom out, so I'll turn you back on when I get her flat. Save you some watch time. Love them curls coming off. Still a long ways to go. Alright, I cheated a little bit. I come back in with a chainsaw and nipped some corners off. I was tired of getting the crap beat out of me. So, that allows me to get up on a higher speed. We should have smoother cutting from here on out. Like night and day. Still have a ways to go though. Okay, looking pretty sweet so far. Just need to touch up this rim a little bit. We're starting to get some figure in here. Woohoo! Pretty sweet. Thing's a little bit of a funky shape. I would love to be able to keep this, but that means, you know, letting all this go right here. It's kind of weird and funky where it was split. I can flatten this out and stuff with no problem, but if I try to take this nub off, half of that's getting eliminated. So what I'm going to do is hollow it, see how it looks, and then we'll go from there. But this, pretty much ready for rough sanding. Alright, she's a little out of balance, but we're going to give her a shot. Remember, I have all them hollow spots in there. That's what's making it jump around. Cutting air on the inside. Nice curls though, where I get decent solid. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Yeah, I definitely, I think I did right. Alright, we're just going to have to see, we're cutting air. So I'm just have to keep poking in there till I get it down to where I can get some smooth cuts. Turn you back on in a little while. Alright, I'm trying to get some of this bulk out of here so I can crank the speed up. It's about the third time I've had to sharpen up. Some pretty hard wood in there. Yeah, right now I'm cutting into the end grain of an old dead branch. Hard stuff in the middle. Still cutting good though. Yeah, see the color in there? That's an old dead branch. All end grain and a knot. So I'll just keep chipping away at it. Turn you back on a bit. Alright, this right here is the outermost, innermost piece of the rim. And you can see I got a lot of air in between this and this side. So I put blue tape on there, and I'm hoping when I turn it on, I'll see the blue streak, and then I know where to ease in and start my cut. Yeah, it's visible, but not as visible as I would like. Oh well, I tried. Let me try painting it red maybe. See what a little magic marker does to it. Nope, that didn't really help either. Little update. I got the depth I want in the very center. Can't even see if you can see me. About 5.5 inches. That gives me a little bit to play with. Now all I have to do is finish bringing my sides in and then make the bottom flat, or at least a slow taper in. So the weird angle I'm having to shoot from, I can't hardly set up the camera because it keeps getting in the way. This bowl's kind of deep, but I'll bring you back as soon as I get the bottom done. Promise. Good morning. Helpful tip: if you're turning wet wood and have to leave it overnight in your jaws, when you come out in the morning, give them a check. Make sure they're still tight, because the wet wood will actually shrink overnight. Fortunately, mine was still tight, but it never hurts to check. We are getting way deep in there. I'm like 5 inches to the bottom from the outermost section, and I have turned the speed back down to 300 and something. Why? Because it makes me more comfortable. I figure if I get a little snag, it's better at 300 RPMs than it is 500 and something. So I'm just trying to thin out the bottom right now. Right now it's still about 3/4 of an inch thick. I'd like to get it down to at least a half. It's kind of punky in the center of this color, but it's still good wood on the outside. I'm getting pretty good cuts, and I'm having good luck with my carbide bit, touching it up, and then I'm going to get the scraper in there. Unfortunately, I can't do the bottom, so I'm making, let me see some of the strings. I am making really fine cuts just to cut back on my sanding, and let's see if we can get a run. See, that middle's punky. Just easing up on it, taking real fine cuts. I have my gouge almost completely sideways, so I'm just using a very tip and trying to keep the best angle I can on it. It's going to take a while, but I'll keep poking away at it, turning you back on when we're ready for sanding. I know this video is getting long, but I'll edit out some of the cutting part so I can put this in on this outside, and of course the inside also, but it's harder to video in there. When I scraped it back, this part of the grain is absolutely smooth. Over here also almost doesn't need sanding, but you get the certain spots like right here, and it actually raised up the grain because you're scraping against the grain, and so it's fuzzy. And a thought went through my head, and I figured maybe you thought of that too. Just put it in reverse and scrape it backwards, and it will cut these fibers off. But the problem with that is when you get around to where it's smooth now, chances are it's going to raise these fibers up. So you'll just be chasing it back and forth, back and forth. You're better off just putting a thin coat of finish on there to stiffen up the fibers. You could even use CA glue, but that clogs your sandpaper more. Just coat these with finish, and it will stiffen them up so they can be cut off, and then you can sand it smooth. That's a better bet than trying to do anything in reverse, because it's right here, this spot. See how rough that is? That's because I went against the fibers. So if I put a coat of finish on that, it will lock them in and stiffen them up, and then I can sand them off. Actually, you could probably use a veneer scraper and lock your pin and use a veneer scraper to help peel those off. But chances are they're going to be fibrous-y, if that's a word, and they'll need to be sanded off. So just another little hint. We're getting there. I got about another 1/4 inch on the bottom, and then we'll be good to go for sanding. Stick with me. Wow. Actually, this thing is sanding up better than I thought it was going to. It's coming out quite nice, actually. So that's awesome. Even the fur spots are cutting off. So that's good. Woohoo! I'll continue on. Alright, we have some rough broken edges here. And so far, I have had pretty good luck with my old school drum sander. This broken edge came from when I was splitting a log. Personally, I like it kind of rough, but if you plan on selling or giving away bowls, they're going to want it soft so they can actually pick it up and touch it. Not overdoing it, just getting the splinters off basically. Then I'll do some hand sanding. And then I'll just come back and ease the edges a little bit. Not too much. Just get the fur off. Sometimes it helps to get your razor knife out and trim the splinters off with that. Where it's a natural edge, I'll leave it and just touch it up. Just so it has good feel to it. Alright, turn you back on, we get some finish on it. Alright folks, this one's going to take a while. I'm doing all this by hand. Because with this jig-jaggedy in the depth of the bowl, I am not sticking my drill in there. I could technically do it, but one little boo-boo and I get about 15 knocks in the knuckle and a broken wrist. So I'm just going to bite the bullet and hand sand this one. Well, hey folks, welcome back after the battery change or charge. We got it all sanded up and it's time to put a coat on it. I just got it down to 80 grit. I'm going to put this coat of finish on it to lock up all the fibers and harden the fibers, and then I can start over with the sanding process. There's some really nice stuff going on in this bowl. I like it. Good old maple. What I was talking about before about sanding this edge and everything and making a finished product, when you're selling it like craft shows or flea markets and all that, you have to diversify because not everyone has the same taste. I've had people come to my house and buy my bowls, and the rougher and more warped they were, the more they liked them. And then I had other people that fell in love with super finished products, you know, with perfectly round edges and stuff like that. So if you plan on selling at garage sales, flea markets, craft shows, arts and craft show. Diversify, because you can't please everybody all of the time, right? That's an old saying. But you can please some of the people some of the time. So the more you diversify and the more you make different stuff, the more, and if you know you're actually making an income, the more steady your income will be, because you always will have something that somebody wants. But if you make all of one thing, then you have to wait for the right person to come along. Know what I mean? I think you do. So I'm just kind of slopping this on there real quick, and I'll let it dry, and then I'll start the sanding process again and try to get a finished product out of it. Got a pretty thin edge on this one, or pretty thin sides. I kind of proud of that. Usually I don't get them this thin. Hopefully it'll help it stop from warping. As I was told by a veteran that if you make them thin when it's green wood, it reduces the warping. They dry more evenly and stuff. We'll see. There's a lot of knots and weird stuff in this one, so it's hard telling. I'm trying to think. Yeah, so far the other bowls I've done have not warped. I just got this one done the other day. You haven't even seen the video yet. Well, now you have, I hope. And this one I did the other day. Hopefully you've seen this video. This hasn't really warped at all. I mean, if you put it on the lathe, it might show it, but it's doing good. So we'll turn you back on and give you a little fly around. Oh yeah, this looks like it's going to be a nice one. Can't hardly get over here. I got you on the leash. My battery went dead. Got some nice figure. Inside looks awesome. It looks like a map of something. So that branch kind of went in on the diagonal. Made for a nice looking bowl. Alright, we'll turn you back on when we get her finished. Okay folks, I got to show you something on this bowl, just so you don't think I'm pulling your leg at the end there. I got a spot here. Actually, don't look too bad on camera. I got a spot here and a spot here that was reverse grain, so it was all fuzzy. So I went ahead and put a finish on it, and then I was going to sand off the fuzzies. But I went to start sanding, and all it does is clog up your sandpaper. So I've been in here with a scraper with it off, scraping by hand, even a pocket knife, because it was all dark. And I thought because I sanded this, the dust got down in there and made it dark. Same with this side. But now I even hit it with denatured alcohol, scraped all the fuzzies off that I could, and I still got the dark stuff. And it's sticky. Almost like it's like a pocket of sap or something. So every time I go to sand it, it just clogs up the sandpaper. It's really weird. But I just wanted to show you that because when I put the finish on, there's going to be a dark spot and a dark spot. There's some of the goopy stuff right there. I just want to show you that now before I put the finish back on. I got to sand this smooth. That, you know, I just didn't get lazy and leave a bunch of sawdust in there and stuff. I don't know, I've never run across that before, but it is maple. Basically, it could be concentrated maple sap, which is syrup. But it's just, I mean, you can feel it now. It feels damp. But it doesn't come through the outside. which is weird. But I just wanted to give you a heads up so when you see that blurb in the finish, you know I wasn't BSing you. Woohoo! The mail doctor came, now I feel better. I got a new 1/2-inch bowl gouge, brand spanking new. It's supposed to be all fancy schmancy cryogenic. I don't know, where it's all special heat treated in the cold stuff. I want to show you something. This is my Carter and Son with the big giant, which I love, but see the flute on that? This bit, or this chisel, used to be almost this long. This is what happens when you put off buying a sharpening jig for your grinder and say, oh, I can do it by eye. Yeah, I way over ground this thing trying to get it right, or get it just right, until I got the jig. But anyhow, this is well over $100 just for this piece that slides into this handle, and then you got your set screw. This is like 79 bucks. We're going to give it a test run, and it fits. Just saying. Time to take the tenon off. Alright, thanks for sticking with me this far. We ended up with a nice maple bowl. Got some nice inclusions. Remember that branch was going on a diagonal. Good color to it, not as much figure as I would like. Hold on, let me turn this light a little. Not as much figure as I like. A lot of that got turned away, unfortunately. Bottom still needs sanded and finished, but I think it looks pretty good. The very bottom's a little bit pitted. That's be finish work. Now that I can put it this way to put finish on it. Got a very interesting edge on it. Kind of reminds me of a mountain range or something. Maybe a glacier edge. Pretty flat there, and then up and down the mountain range. So thanks a lot for watching the video. Please hit the like button. There's a good indicator how that branch went. Hit that like button if you please, and we'll see you next time around. Play nice, everybody.